If you've seen The Bear on FX, you saw the really awesome scene where Sydney makes a potato chip omelet. The potato chip omelet looks so good, and I wanted to see, is it really that good? So in this video, I'm gonna recreate the omelet that she makes, and I'm also gonna make 2 more with the same format to see, can we take that awesome omelet and make them even better? For the full ingredient list, check the description box below, but enough talking, let's get cooking. So the first thing we're gonna do to get started is we're gonna beat our eggs through this wire strainer. It's gonna remove some of the thicker proteins. It's also gonna break them up, and it's gonna make everything nice and creamy. So I'm gonna crack these eggs right inside there. She used 3 eggs in the show, so we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna do a 3-egg omelet, and then 3 times 3 is 9. So we're gonna throw 9 eggs in here. I think 9 eggs is a little much to beat all at once, so I'm probably gonna do them like 4 and then 5. And she used a fork in the show. I'm just gonna use this whisk, get even more air in those eggs, make them nice and fluffy, and I'm just gonna keep beating them and pushing them through the strainer until all the liquid's in the bowl down there and not inside the strainer. If you're trying this at home and it seems like it's not going down, just keep doing it, and eventually the eggs will start to break up and go through the holes. This is also probably a totally unnecessary step. You can totally skip it and just beat the eggs in a bowl with a fork. Okay, so that was 4. Let's do 5 more. Excellent. And you can see we got a little bit of these like chunky proteins that are left. You probably wouldn't notice these if you put these in an omelet, but again, we're trying to recreate it just like she did in the show, so we wanted to make sure that we're doing all the technique that she showed there. Now we're gonna put a pinch or 2 of salt in there, and we're gonna give this just a little mix to get the salt in there. Salting beaten eggs before you make them helps break down the protein even more. Picked that up from Kenji Alt Lopez. He puts out a lot of good cooking information, and that was one of the things that he tested, was adding salt before or after, and actually adding salt before, letting it sit for a minute or 2, help break down the eggs and even made a creamier texture. So now let's take this bowl of beaten eggs and separate it out into 3 containers. That looks pretty good. So now let's set these aside and let's load our cheese into the plastic bag. So in the show, she used a spreadable Boursin cheese, and this is probably the most recognizable and like standard in their product line. So this is the garlic and fine herb. I also picked up another flavor, which is the caramelized onion and herb one, which we're gonna make another omelet with a different potato chip. And then they also have a truffle flavor, but I couldn't find that in my supermarket, so I found this brand that has a spreadable cheese with truffles. It's a brie-based cheese, and I thought this would go really nice with another different potato chip. And that should be enough for 1 omelet. And now our caramelized onion and herb flavor. Just want to taste this and see what this tastes like. Oh wow, I know the perfect potato chip that's gonna go absolutely awesome with this. I'm not a big fan of the container that they chose to put this in. I wish they came in like little plastic containers that you could put a lid on, because this isn't gonna really save really well. I'm gonna have to use this pretty fast. So now our 3rd cheese that we're gonna use, so this is again a creamy spreadable brie that's got some black truffle flavor. I absolutely love truffle. I really wanted to see what we could do with this one with a very particular potato chip. And now that's what I'm talking about. Look at this nice container. We can take the cheese out, cover it right back up. Boursin, you better take some notes from President. Because it's got a little accent on there. Europe's leading cheese expert, clearly. Our eggs are beaten and salted. They had a minute or two for the salt to do its thing, and our cheese is in the bag. So now let's head over to the stove and start making these 3 omelets. So I'm gonna put this on a low heat and just let the pan heat up just a little bit. And to make an omelet, you need a small frying pan. This is a non-stick frying pan. I don't use a whole lot of non-stick stuff, but I do when it comes to eggs. They're just the stickiest thing ever. And I have this nice small silicone spatula so I can get around the edges. Metal's not going to work here because it's non-stick, and I want something that's flexible so I can really get around the edges and maneuver this omelet when it's inside the pan. So now let's make our first omelet. So this pan is just barely hot over that low heat. I'm going to put it in. You can see that the butter bubbles up just a little bit. I'm going to coat that pan really nice, especially around the edges. Once that butter's melted, in go our eggs. And the eggs should not sizzle on contact, because otherwise you're definitely going to get some browning on there. We're going to take our spatula and we're going to start to do just a light scramble. So like as the egg starts to cook and collect around the edges, we're just going to push it all towards the middle, and we're trying to do like a scramble. And then right at the last second, we're going to stop scrambling and we're going to let it turn into an omelet. If at any time I think that the heat's too high, I can turn down the heat, and this is actually as low as it can go, or I can actually shut the heat off or take the pan off the burner. So you can see we're starting to get like really nice like scrambled egg texture. Almost there. And if you want to see are your eggs scrambled or not, you can give them a shake. So if I shake this, you can see that there's still a lot of jiggle to this and there's a lot of liquid, but we're getting pretty close. And I'll start to move the egg around. It'll get any of the low spots. And this is starting to look pretty good. Even just lifting it up like this just removes a little bit of the heat. This is getting really, really close. Sometimes I like to feather out the edges just by taking some of that loose egg and just rolling it all the way around. And it'll give me this nice like thin edge to help fold it up. And we're getting really close to almost no runny egg in there. You can see if I shake it, there's not much to it. So now let's grab our cheese. We're gonna cut the plastic bag. We're gonna make sure that the plastic doesn't end up in the eggs. And now we're gonna squeeze it, not in the middle, but like really close to the middle, but like off to the edge on one side. And look how easy that came out. And now we're gonna go underneath. Don't worry, we're gonna fix that crack. Cooking is a full contact sport. Don't be afraid to get your hands in there. We'll loosen this up, keep pushing it over. Good, and then once I get enough on one side, I'm just gonna take the other side and just fold it over gently. And the French omelet's supposed to have the fold on the bottom, so we're just gonna take this and flip it over one more time so that the fold is on the bottom. We're gonna let this continue to cook for maybe another 30 seconds, all folded up, just so the rest of the egg in there has a chance to fully cook. But you can see that we got no color on the outside of it. It's not browned at all. So this omelet is done and finished. We're gonna take it, we're gonna throw it on our plate, and we're gonna make our other 2 omelets. Butter back in the pan, no browning. If you're browning, your pan's too hot. Really making sure we're getting those edges. Egg in. Start to scramble. Okay, there's not much runniness left to this egg. This is our caramelized onion and herb flavor. And we'll start on this side. So we're starting on the handle side. We're gonna give that a flip over the cheese. Try to fold it a little bit more. Flip over the folded side. Now we're gonna flip it over. Get the fold on the bottom. Give this another 30, 45 seconds to finish cooking on the inside. Melt some of that cheese. If at any time you think your eggs are burning, just take them off the heat. The pan will retain some heat. Goes right back on. A lot of cooking, especially in a pan, is heat management, and this shows that you're able to cook well on low heat without producing a raw omelet and without burning it on the outside, so you got that fine control. So now let's glaze these with a little butter. So we're gonna get a hand butter treatment just right on the outside. Just a little extra flavor. It's also gonna give it a nice gloss on the outside. And just the warmth of these omelets is just melting the butter just enough. So now that these omelets are loaded up, buttered up, and now let's put the 2 garnishes that she used in the show. So she used 1 potato chip and 1 fresh element, so we're gonna do the same. So for our first, we're gonna go with the OG. So we got the garlic and herb combo with these sour cream and onion potato chips. Quality check. Delicious. And now we'll take just a couple and we'll crumble them right over the top. No technique here, just crumble potato chips and sprinkle. Now we're gonna take some chives, fresh out of the garden. Sprinkle these right on top. Awesome. Next, we're gonna pair off this caramelized onion and herb with the Funyons. So this is a fun episode and you can't spell fun without Funyons. So I thought this would be a really nice pairing. The caramelized onion flavor plus these super duper onion flavors. We're going all in on onions here. So we'll take some of these scallions and we'll slice up a few of the greens for a garnish. And to pair with our brie with truffle, we're gonna go classic, some salt and vinegar potato chips. I thought the salt and the vinegar, so acidity and salt, would go really well with the savoriness of the truffle. It will really bring out a nice flavor, even though it's a really simple potato chip. Even though these are so simple potato chips, these are some of my favorite. And on this one, we're just gonna garnish with some fresh parsley. I already had some already chopped up. I am uniquely excited to try each one of these. Let's start with the original that we saw on the show. All right, let's dig into the original. So you can see on the inside of our omelet, the egg isn't running out. It's still nice and creamy on the inside. I'm gonna make sure we get some of those potato chips in there. Eggs are super soft. The cheese is super flavorful. It pairs really nicely with those potato chips. Potato chips give it a really nice crunch, so it's not too mushy. So good. I can tell you this, that the show makes that scene hype this omelet up a lot, and the hype is worth it. This is delicious. I'm so excited to try the other 2 that I came up with. Let's see if they're as good as this one. All right, next up is gonna be our caramelized onion and herbs paired up with some Funyons. Make sure we get some of those Funyons on there. This is also really, really, really good. The Funyons give it a little crunch. It's super flavorful between the flavored cheese and the onion flavor coming from the Funyons. Oh my God, this is delightful. One more bite of this yummy one. Oh man. I don't know which one I like better. They're so good. And the scallion flavor also goes with that whole same flavor profile. So we're getting onions through the cheese, onions through the Funyons, additional like herby onion flavor coming through the scallions. This was so good. I would definitely make this again. And now last but not least, this is our truffle brie flavored cheese with the salt and vinegar potato chips and just some parsley on there for a pop of color. So if we cut into this omelet, once again, I'm really proud of myself. I think I did a really good job. And all these omelets were done on first take. We didn't do any and then throw them in the garbage after. Look at how nice and creamy the inside is. But again, the egg is not running out. So that's that perfect balance. Got nice creamy cheese in there. You go out to brunch anywhere, it's a $30 omelet. This is so good. I love truffle, and I think the salt and vinegar potato chips just really elevate that whole like savory flavor coming from the truffle. Oh man, is this good. And if I had to pick one, I would say that This one's my favorite, although the other two are really good. By all means, there's no loser in this battle. This was a really fun episode to make. We definitely showed that the hype is worth it, and potato chip omelets, try them out. They're really delicious. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and check out my crispy egg video. I'll see you there. Thanks.